Sean.
Dad, Ryan got shot.
Perhaps you can help me. I'm looking for my son, Ryan Quinn.
Your son.
Y'all waiting for somebody?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long.
I don't like him checking us out on my dime.
Neither do I.
Put the phone down, get up against the wall.
Where are we going? I need you to wait in here.
Can anyone please tell me where my son is being kept?
Stay quiet, and we'll get out of this together.
My father runs a clean operation.
No, I suggest you give that phone call.
I assure you, he was here with an FBI agent.
The feds moved Ryan. Send the boys out to find him.
Easy first assignment. Yeah, easy my ass.
Ellis.
My partner's dead.
That's nowhere to start a negotiation!
Take the back stairs down to the boiler room.
What are you gonna do?
Skills from a past life.
We got some help on the inside. Captain Michelle Miller, Purple Heart, 3-time Gold Star.
Let's do everything we can to help that soldier.
They're searching for Ryan, and they are not going to stop.
Ryan, this family's going down, whether you like it or not.
I had an agreement.
She was just gonna hand Ryan back. She's working for the feds.
I'm gonna ask you once. Where's my brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are so happy today to have with us a lovely and very talented actress, Leah Gibson. Leah, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. So happy to be here.
That was a pretty fantastic movie that you were just in, that I just watched you in. Can you tell people what we're here to talk about and maybe explain to them about the movie?
Thank you for watching. So we're here to talk about Mercy. Mercy plays in select theaters on Friday, May 12th. Starring myself, John Boyd, and Jonathan Rhys Meyers. It is about a woman with a painful past and a special set of skills who was forced to go to extreme measures to protect her son when an Irish mafia takes hostage the hospital she's working at. So it's an exciting action thriller, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
I love your description. Very simple, very to the point. And you mentioned who your co-stars are. How does it feel to be at the top of the marquee with John Voight and Jonathan Rhys Meyers, who are both huge stars? You yourself are now a huge star.
From your lips to God's ears. Yes, so exciting. My process with coming on board the film was a bit of a journey in and of itself. I auditioned without having access to the script and not knowing a lot about the story. I didn't know who was attached at the time. I got a phone call from my agent and was invited to a meeting with the producer a couple of hours later. So when I pulled up, John Boyd was standing outside of my car, and that was, a surprise to me. I didn't know he was involved. I didn't know Johnny was involved either. So it was a wonderful first meeting that I had with John and our producer, Stephen Paul. And it was just kind of an old-fashioned just meet and greet, which it doesn't happen a lot these days as much as maybe it did a few years ago for obvious reasons. So it was a delight to be able to just kind of connect with John. And I know that he obviously comes with so many years of experience, and he is just so gentle and so intuitive and so intelligent and so passionate. And to be able to share his company and feel him literally size me up to be involved in the film and seemingly get a bit of a thumbs up. It was humbling and very exciting off the get-go.
I can imagine it would be quite exciting to see that, to have an absolute legend like that, just hanging out by your car when you come out of the building. That must have been quite the shock, quite the surprise. Can you talk about working with Tony, the director? Because it seems like he really did just know exactly what sort of vision he wanted for this thing from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, Tony was heavily involved with a lot about the film. The script underwent many rewrites, I know, from the first draft until we began filming and even while we were filming. Tony's very collaborative and he's very verbose and he's a wonderful communicator. And it was really special for me to be able to work with a director that was so communicative and so generous in that way with me. There was a lot that I wanted to sculpt in a very particular way for Michelle, and he was so instrumental, without a doubt, in sometimes pulling me back a little bit, sometimes, helping me to find more levity for her and more of a grace and more of a softness, these parts of her emotional arc that are really important and really do create an authentic journey overall as we're experiencing this woman go through this timeline in life. So he's wonderful and very generous and very devoted to the creative process.
I love that answer. You touched on something that I found really important. How do you get yourself there to dealing with such heavy subject matter and to get yourself to be able to get into the headspace of I have to be this character today and I can't let it affect me afterwards? How do you do that, and what was your approach to the character?
Well, especially for filming a movie like this, which is a month-long shoot, that you're going to be going in every day for, 16, 15, 17 hour days back to back. And so there creates a fluidity and you're able to just kind of, I can only speak for myself because I know everybody's so different, but I just like to submerge myself and sort of, enter into the mind frame after a tremendous amount of intellectual preparation. And that's often research based, finding different but very accurate modes of inspiration based on the character archetype, and also being able to abandon those and adjust very, very quickly if I happen to be off track in any certain way. So it's a combination of just being committed to the intellectual process before we begin filming and then being totally open to the collaboration once we get going. And there were many nights where, I am not really the type of person that when they roll cut, I just skip out of set. It is joyful for sure, but it's a different type of joy. There's a high level of emotional life that's being portrayed, and that's kind of something that you want to just seek comfort in your surroundings at the end of the day, but also gear up for maybe a 3 a.m. wake up the next morning and you're still kind of in it, So for me, my decompression process definitely happens after the shoot's over. I kind of just embrace the mentality of being an encapsulated reality throughout the duration, and and maybe a bit to a detriment, but it's just it's what I do and it's what I like to do.
As long as the process is working, that's really all that matters, honestly. I have to tell you, your arms are gigantic in this movie. Did you work out like a ton for this role? Because you got some absolute cannons on your shoulders, dude.
I did. I actually have a really cute behind the scenes video of a few of the guys that videoed me, and they sent me this, and then peeking over because I had my chair pulled into a little off room so I could have a little bit of privacy for Emotional Park one day, and they peek over. And I'm doing bicep curls, and they're just like, oh my God, what is she doing? So Anthony Konechny brought me some 10 pounders anyway. And so I was just
pounding 10 pounds.
Yeah, just, I was, gotta be ready. Yeah.
I don't know what you're ready for with those weapons of mass destruction, but yeah, you were ready for sure. Like cannons, you're just ready to like beat someone up. Just in case Jonathan Rhys Meyers gets out of line.
Well, the physicality was something that was, ultimately it was probably the most novel film experience to me when I signed on, and I was really intent to want to do the best that I could with that type of energy. And so I was, you know, I was in between filming. Like if I had a day off, I was training 3 times a day at the Lions, which is a phenomenal fight training institution in Vancouver. And just MMA, whatever, like Muay Thai, just to have it in my body, right? So even though, you know, sometimes you're like
I love that.
not looking like the expert, but you're just like starting out new. I wanted it in my body. So yeah.
I love that because this is not your first time, you know, being in something where it's that physical, but obviously you have been in some projects that required a little bit of you know, oomph to them as far as getting down and dirty. But this was a perfect sort of project for you to do based on what I know from your previous work, and it was nice to see you in this and to see you really adapted to that character was really interesting to see. So I wanted to ask you, who are some people you look to as inspirations, some people that inspire you to just do what you do?
Oh my gosh. I mean, my favorite thing about this industry is being able to work with artists that are so unique, right? Like, and I for a long time hesitated to call myself an artist because I'm an actor, and I don't always believe in the sentiment of self-creation as an actor, right? I think a writer is more an artist than an actor. I think an actor is more a craftsman. So I've just kind of been, you know, put my head down and like to just, you know, focus on what inspires me with different types of works. But to be able to work collaboratively with different types of performers and connect with people who source inspiration in truly unique ways is a major source of inspiration to me, because I'm affected largely by my relationship to other people. I'm an empath, I'm an intuitive, I feel everything through others. And so I can intuit Michelle Miller to my own ability as much as possible, but she really comes to life when I'm in her wardrobe, when I step on set, literally in her shoes, and when I'm in scene with the other people opposite, that's when something alive becomes itself. And that is the unpredictability and sometimes like where creative danger comes into play. Working opposite Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and John Voight, they come with years of experience and expertise in the film industry, far above and beyond, of course, anything that my career has seen. And their commitment to the authenticity of the characterization, and most importantly to the storytelling, is so devotional. And so it was definitely a learning curve for me to be able to know that I could step into scene with one of these two gentlemen and things could be like surprises could happen. Right. I come from most TV background where I'm devoted to word for word what the script has written, but especially Johnny Rhys-Meyers, who brings a level of intensity and sort of just a total fluidity with his creative process that sometimes I didn't know what was going to happen next. And that's a little bit frightening, but also something that I needed to experience at this point for myself. And so that had a profound effect on me overall as a takeaway from this film that has been very emotional.
That's funny. You're not the first person to tell me that he's a little intense. So that's funny. I did an interview last year with a different co-star in a different movie, and he was like, "Yeah, Johnny's always great, except when he goes totally intense." And it's really interesting that you say that because it matches with the description I've been given of him. But he seems like a nice fellow.
Yeah, beautiful.
One of my last questions. This is the most fun question, but it's also the hardest question to ask you this whole day. If you could only watch 2 movies for the rest of your life, what would you pick and why? I know.
Like rewatch them again and again and again.
Those are the only 2. Yeah, you have to rewatch those 2 and nothing else.
Oh my gosh.
This is a really hard question too.
Yeah.
Titanic is good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You get one more.
okay, Titanic and Chicago.
Oh yeah, we just talked about Chicago on our podcast. We did a musicals episode. We just talked about Chicago and how brilliant it is. So I'm so glad you picked Chicago.
There's something about two of those worlds that are so nostalgic to me, and they're obviously in very different ways, but it's just a nostalgia. Like obviously Titanic, I saw that when I was a kid. I was 12 or 13 or something, and it was just like like James Cameron, just this nostalgia that just pulls you, pulls you by the heart. It's so alive. And Chicago is one of the most, influential films that I saw at that time, just because of my relationship to stage performing, and it was my gateway into acting,
Yeah,
especially like that is largely responsible for the hook of my gateway into acting. So yeah.
I love that answer because Chicago has inspired so many people, whether it be the stage production or the 2002 movie. That's such a great movie. I mean, Cell Block Tango is just perfection.
I have a really short story that I tell sometimes. So I watched that film when I was 18, and I was at the time dancing a lot, still and performing and singing and dancing. And I was so taken by the Cell Block Tango, and I was so taken by the first performer of the Cell Block Tango in the movie Pop, right? And I was just, oh my God, I was just so taken by her. Years later, this is a few years ago now, I was working on a TV show in Vancouver called Shut Eye. It's on Hulu. I did a couple seasons of it. And I became really close with one of my co-stars, Susie. And we just did a whole bunch of stuff together. We'd go for facials. We'd go to yoga classes together. I said, Susie, you got to come to this dance performance with me. She goes, okay. We were just like girlfriends, whatever. So I introduced her to my friends. And I knew she danced on Broadway and this and that, but just someone asked a question. She says, oh yeah, I was in Chicago. And they say, oh, which role? She goes, oh, I was Pop. And they say on stage, no, she said in the movie. This whole time, my girlfriend now was the Pop that I was so enamored with. And and at this point, she's my girlfriend, so I can't fangirl her, but I just had the wildest full circle experience, just thinking if the 18-year-old me had known, right? It's just wild how things come together. Anyway, story.
For the record, you can absolutely fangirl her. Absolutely. Right. You could absolutely fangirl her, and it would be worthy because that is an amazing number, and I love that story because it's actually crazy.
She's gone on to be. I mean, she's gone on to choreograph incredible productions. She's just an amazing. Talk about who inspires me. She's just one of the types of people. One person that I've worked with that is just an artist through and through. The way she sources creativity, it's so inspiring.
I love that. I love that story. Now I don't have a lot of time left with you, but it has been a pleasure to have you with me today. If people want to check this out, obviously you said they can check it out coming out in theaters here in the next couple of days, but it does hit VOD in the next couple of weeks as well. Is that right?
Yes. So Mercy will be in select theaters Friday, May 12th. It will be on demand May 19th. And where is it? Wait, streaming May 19th, on demand June 2nd.
Perfect. Now, is there any? I'm gonna make you sell the movie to me. Why should I go see this movie on May 12th when there's 17 movies coming out tomorrow?
Because it's a juicy action thriller with some phenomenal character performances by two veterans that are just absolutely magnetic on screen. John Boyd, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and the female that kicks ass and takes names.
I love that because it's true. She does kick some major ass in this movie. And who doesn't like a good action thriller? This is a really good throwback 90s action type thriller. And I love that. That is a category that I will eat up all day. Guys, make sure that you check out Leah Gibson in Mercy, hitting select theaters tomorrow. And if you miss it in theaters, which you should definitely see an action movie like this in the theater, check it out next week on streaming, and then in June when it hits on demand. Leah, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with before I bid my adieu?
Just keep making stuff.
That's
just keep making stuff.
I love that. I love that because we never stop making stuff. We never stop making dreams come true. And that by that I mean my own. You have a wonderful rest of your day, Leah. Thank you so much for having us today. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.